everyone, and I know it's a bit late for you to get into the lunch. So before lunch, I'm not going to take much of your time. Here it says time up already for me, so I'm not sure whether time is going to start for me or not, but it says time up. So couple of things. So when you talk about Microsoft or when you think about Microsoft, what comes to your mind? A company that changed from everything from black and white screens, black screens with command prompts, into something where you were easily able to access things in a GUI-based things. So everyone has been talking about machine learning, everyone has been talking about how exactly the AI thing and all those stuff. But how exactly you're going to implement it? Is it again going to be those black screens where you have to type in, you have to do XYZ, questionnaires and all those stuff, do testing and all those stuff before you can actually land up and do something? No. The answer from Microsoft is no, because we believe that technology should be used by each and every person on this earth in a very easeful manner. And that's what I'm going to showcase you and tell you. So these are the three things which we are talking about. It is all about engagement, prediction, and automation. So each and every session which you have seen till now, I can bet if you come to my session, all those things are covered. Whether you talk about security, automation, cloud, artificial intelligence, blockchain, you name it, you'll get on Microsoft platform. And all this is on MITI mPanel Cloud, which is, and you can be rest assured that data resides within India. STQC audited, MITI mPanel, 3 data centers for India. So when you talk about artificial intelligence or machine learning, what exactly it is? It is all about the insights which you're going to get out of that data. If you're not able to get insights out of that data, it is of no meaning. So that's why we say it is a journey where you collect all that data, get the interactive dashboards, predictive motions. The last thing which no one is talking about is the insight. All these things have kept on happening over a period of time where people said once they collect the data, they will get into reports, they will get into dashboards, models, automation, everything is there. But after doing all these things, what exactly do you want? You want to predict what is going to happen next. If you're not able to do that, you are not able to do anything about artificial intelligence, because it is all about insights with that data, which matters to each one of us. So we know big data, cloud, and intelligence. These are the 3 big pillars of the 4th revolution which everyone is talking about. We have been into the eras of steam engines where the entire productivity was driven by steam. Then came your electricity. Then came your microprocessors. And now whatever we are talking about, it is all about big data, intelligence, and cloud. So this is something which we want to showcase. The very first thing before I get into the demo mode is how technology can support government, because that's the most important thing you guys are here for. How can a technological revolution which is happening can help the government to give more to the end citizens? And how exactly the digital transformation is going to happen? If a digital transformation has to happen, it has to start from the productivity within the government organization itself, within the people who are sitting there. How exactly the fast processing of the files are happening? How exactly you're internally doing the collaboration? If you're not able to communicate and collaborate within the organization itself, within the government itself, then giving the services outside the government to the citizens will be very difficult. That's what we are talking about, though it is not very clear. So we are talking about the trends and the modernization and what type of. So we have something called Kaizala, which definitely we are going to talk about in some time. Kaizala is one application which is for the government. It is something everyone has been using WhatsApp for sharing data and things across the people. Kaizala, all the data is secured. It adheres to all the security norms of Government of India. And basically you can have different action cards. You can reach out to across the people on the ground level. Chandrababu Naidu, his group as of now has more than 2 lakh people connected on Kaizala, So every day and if he wants to go ahead and reach out to everyone at the grassroots level, he uses Kaizala to push the data. It has hierarchy. So say, for example, Mr. Session wants to have something distributed only for his directs, he can do that. Someone down that line, he doesn't want to interact, that all those hierarchy, reporting, analytics, all these things can happen. Simplest of the simplest examples, if someone wants to have a birth certificate, he can go ahead and apply on Kaizala. All these things can be automated, move forward, along with the geo-tagging. If say, for example, you have sent out a survey, someone wants to a remote village, you never know whether that particular person went on to that particular village or not. So geo-tagging and all those stuff is there, and that reporting can happen, and the analytics on top of it can happen. So these are some of the things which I wanted to so from this, let me deep dive directly into the demo. The very first thing which I want to show you, so this is the face detection which most of our mobiles and everything has. So if you see, it is showing me my age, the confidence level, and my emotion. All these three things are getting shown up here. And this is just with one single API call from the cloud. There is nothing stored here. The app is running on my laptop, but the API call is happening from cloud. If you see here, because the data has moved off, so when Mr. Session was speaking, we were taking the average crowd emotions and all those stuff, how many unique faces and all those things, and we were analyzing. So what we analyzed during when Mr. Session was speaking, that out of 77 unique faces, 77 faces which it detected, it saw 20 unique faces which it was able to capture because of this laptop, and I was standing here. And out of those 20 people, 15 were happy because of the smile on their face or doing an emotion. All this was real time. Whatever I'm showing here is real time. Nothing which is I have stored. And how exactly we do it? That would be the next question. Before I get into that one, let me show you another demo. So everyone talks about the Olas and the Ubers and everything, correct? Or the driving security. The most important thing is the drivers, say for example, you have been driving for a very long time. I am capturing my eye aperture, my mouth aperture, my head pose, and my detraction. So with all this thing captured in the backend, I can actually send out an alert whether the person who is driving, what exactly he is doing. Is he feeling sleepy? If he is feeling sleepy, just like in our engines, when both the drivers are there, they have to press into a button every 3 minutes or 4 minutes to make sure that they are awake. So either you can say that the car should go ahead and stop, or it should send out an alarm saying that this guy should be given a rest before he gets into a next duty. So I'm capturing all these things. So all these things are just an API call on Microsoft Cloud. We are not doing anything more than that. So rest everything, how exactly this is the dashboard, and this is just a normal .NET programming where you are just projecting it. Rest is a API call. I'll show you how simple it is to get into that API call as well. Before that, I'll show you something more. Everyone talks about machine learning. So when we talk about machine learning, if you talk about Microsoft Azure, you just have to go to studio.azureml.net and you are done. You just think what you want to do. So say, for example, you have to analyze the data. So if you have already loaded that data, you will just say, my data set or data. On the left-hand side, you'll start seeing all the data sets which are there, all the samples which are there. Next, what would be the next thing when you want to do a machine learning thing? You want to cleanse that data. That would be the very next thing. Or you want to select the different columns. So I have taken a automobile data. If you look at it, this is my data. If you see, there are so many rows which has data where data is not there. So I want to go ahead and cleanse this out, and I want to, instead of taking all these columns, I just want to take 5 or 6 columns to do my machine learning, analytics, and all those stuff. So which means I just want to select a column. What I'll do, I just mentioned select. Whether I want to do a transition, whether I want to do a select, it is all about so simple that you just have to think about an SSIS package or anything which you were doing earlier. You don't have to write complex queries to start with. If you want to do a very complex thing, going to want to call R or Python, you can do that as well. But all the linear regressions, all the neural networks, all the basic things are already there. You just have to call them. You don't have to do anything other than that. That simple is machine learning which Microsoft has made, because of the accessibility which we talk about. That everyone who is there in the market, everyone who is, because we talk about every person and every organization should achieve more. This is how we want to achieve that. The last thing which I want to show you, say for example, is about the file search or the OCR. So this is something which, when the John F. Kennedy assassination happened, last year the files were made public. So one of our colleagues, what he did, he just wanted to go ahead and see how exactly we can do a search on that using the cognitive service, the Azure, Microsoft Learning, and all those stuff. In no time, he was able to go ahead and do that using all those technologies. And now, whatever I'm showing is whatever you want to search doing an OSR search, all the data is loaded. You just type in whether it is a handwritten or it is a PDF or anything, all that data captured once, and we are able to search it in less than a second, the entire documentation. That's simple. So how do we do that? This is the Azure subscription, which from where you can control everything. You just have to go there, say what, and the biggest thing which this Azure talks about is about a marketplace. The biggest failure where Microsoft phones failed was the marketplace. Google has had a marketplace, huge number of apps. iOS had that, Microsoft phone didn't have that, and that was the biggest failure. You will not see here. You name a product which is there, whether it is an open source or whether it is a Microsoft thing. If it is used in the industry, you will find that. Right from a Linux VMs, which is Ubuntu or Red Hat or whichever, to a high-end thing like a SAP virtual HANA machine on cloud, and all that pay as you go. You don't think that, hey, you have to make any commitment before you can start it. You can start with a zero commitment. And say the biggest thing is all your dev test servers, if you have, you just want to move it there, do it for 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it, you shut it down. You don't pay for anything. That's good it is. So let's go ahead and talk about the services. So what I was showing you. So everything comes under cognitive services. I can click on add. If you see, these are the pre-configured thing about chatbots, functional bots, machine learning, data sciences. All these are pre-configured things. You just have to click on them and you're done. You can start using it. You can configure the entire blockchain Ethereum network in less than 15 minutes. In less than 15 minutes, your entire blockchain thing can be up and running without any issues. So say, for example, I want to do a face detection. I searched it. I'm selecting that. I'm doing a create. I'm just entering the name, whatever I want. Say, for example, whichever subscription I want. The beauty is you can search from whichever location you want to do it. Whether it is in India, you want to do outside India, you can select the location and Microsoft guarantees you that it is not going to leave that particular geolocation. So I'm choosing Central India. You can see the pricing itself available here. You don't have to go to anyone to say how much I'm going to pay for what. All this pricing is readily available for you to see. Before you go ahead and do that, you can see You have a free calls. If you want to make, you can do a free things using 20 calls per minute, or if you want to move forward, you can move forward as well. So if you want to do something like a testing for yourself, you have free things readily available for you. You don't have to think about it. I just hit create. These are the basics. Only with this, I would be able to get my Face API keys, which I can go ahead and use it in my application and start using the facial recognition or the other things. All these are API based. As soon as I click there, my deployment started in the backend, if you see there. That's how the deployment is going to, and it is hardly going, while we were speaking, this has been configured and you are good to go. Now I can go ahead and use the keys. So I can use these keys in my application and then get this is the endpoint. If you see, this is the endpoint. I call the endpoint, pass on the key, I'm done. That's simple it is, the AI and machine learning from Microsoft. Thank you guys.